In addition, I have received the jail incident reports, which have been turned over to counsel. Have you both had an opportunity to review those?
Okay.
Also, I have received this morning and now reviewed, it looks like 4 letters of support that Ms. Holmes brought today. Mr. Smith, have you had an opportunity to review those as well? All right, then, Ms. Holmes, you may proceed.
Yeah. I've been looking at the PSI report. Mr. Lewis just have obviously previous criminal history spanning from juvenile and adulthood. The crimes that he has is fears of burglary of habitation. It looks like 3 cases, but they ran concurrently, in which he placed on probation and had an application in which he was sentenced to 2 years in prison. He has since been discharged from that, Your Honor, and being released, there was a traffic stop, which resulted in a firearm being found in the vehicle of Mr. Lewis driving. Obviously, in reading his response to PSI officer, and I would allow him to elaborate more on that. Obviously, he did plead guilty to the offense, taking responsibility, and we are seeking probation in this case, Your Honor. We believe that at this point in Mr. Lewis' life,
This is the defense's tightrope walk. They admit the prior record because they have to, but pivot hard toward rehabilitation. Probation isn't about innocence here. It's about convincing the judge that 6 more years behind bars won't fix anything. Question is, does the judge buy it?
Since obviously being incarcerated before, that's not the word he wants to go back and spend potentially 6 additional years of his life. He would like this opportunity on probation to have that opportunity to spend and get back on track with employment, take care of his family, and provide for his family. And reading those support letters, Your Honor, he does have support here from family, friends, and communities that are willing to step up and help him to make sure that he is a productive citizen and he gets back on track. He understands that there are just certain things with being a convicted felon that he cannot. And I think at this point he understands that, Your Honor, and we are asking that the court give him the opportunity to be placed on probation and to finish his term while on probation.
Well, I guess before we go any further, I want to make sure I understand, because Mr. Lewis, your version of this is that it wasn't your gun, it was in your girlfriend's purse. You didn't even know her purse was in the car, much less the gun was in the purse in the car. So either you are guilty or you're not guilty of it.
Police Scarlight record scratch moment. The judge just hit pause, and this is huge. You cannot plead guilty while also claiming you didn't do it. That's not how the law works. Either you knowingly possess the firearm, or a jury decides. This contradiction is setting off every judicial alarm bell.
And so if you knew about it, then you're guilty. If you didn't, then a jury needs to decide.
Being guilty because I was driving the car, and by me driving and finding the gun,
But the law, that's not what the law is. Okay? So you don't get to just take a deal or plead guilty because that's what you want to do. When you were here before, you stood in front of that clerk, you put your hand up, swore that you were going to tell the truth, and I said, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily? Or are you pleading guilty because you did what they charged you?
No, I'm still on.
Okay. All right, Mr. Smith?
Judge, they given probation before, it was not successful, you didn't vote. I the judge sharing his own constructive story. Don't feel like he's probably to probation for asking for shit.
So
Now the tone shifts hard. The prosecution isn't even focused on the gun anymore. They're arguing character, behavior, and supervision failure. Translation: Judge, this man can't follow rules on the outside or the inside. And that matters enormously in probation decisions.
Mr. Lewis, one thing I noticed in several of these letters that friends and family members said, I think 3 of them actually used the word respect, that you're a respectful man. What has been going on in our jail is the furthest thing from respectful that I've seen. The number of times, and the fact that I have to say this.
And here's the moment nobody saw coming. The judge goes straight for the jail conduct, and it is brutal. Judges expect bad choices before jail, but behavior inside jail? That's the preview of how probation would go. And what she's about to describe is devastating.
Out loud. The number of times that you choose to masturbate in front of the officers on purpose is ridiculous. Sure.
The case wasn't only somebody else got a tape, and the one that even talked to the lieutenant, he did remove about my file, but it still shows that there was not only somebody.
It's more than one time. So hold on. So on April 4th, let's just go through them. On April 14th, you were in trouble for not being in your bunk, that you had been given several orders to go to your bunk. You proceeded to walk around yelling, "Bitch, stop talking to me." That's from April 14th, last week. Then, on April 7th, it alleges that you had your hands in your pants, moving in and back and forth, that you were told to take your hands out of your pants, and that you had been told before, or this officer had been briefed on the fact that you were known for doing this. Your response, according to this, is that that person should have asked the officers how big your penis, anyway. Since they want to be talking about you, they should have told them about that. Then, on March 25th, before that, a week, another officer, and these aren't the same officers, it's not the same person saying the same thing about you, somebody has something different against you. So, March 25th, started to do rounds. Noticed that you were watching the person doing rounds. Had his hand over his midsection as if he was rubbing on himself. March 18th, another different officer. Notice monitoring the bunk. There you are, laying on your back, stroking your penis in the back and forth motions, told not to do so. January 24th, 2025, you're in trouble for walking around. This one, notice the way you're laying on your bunk in a way, making motions under the blanket. Walked past, turned around to see if you were still doing it. Then you supposedly look at this officer and say, "I'm not doing anything," while you lifted the blanket up for that officer to see it. January 4th, another time, being told to be quiet, do what you're supposed to do, didn't do it that day. December 29th, another issue of not following the rules. December 17th, another infraction for arguing and not following the rules. So if there was one time when they got the wrong person, that's one thing. That's over and over again. You disrespecting female officers who are in there just doing their job. Sir, we're really going to do that?
Yeah, and I'm telling you, I have sisters, I have a mom. I don't do this. Young people,
they're making this up on you. That's terrible of them to do that.
In my cases report now, I don't have any cases on this. I don't have any time. I'm not on restrictions on none of that.
Okay. You were off parole, the way I do the math, less than a year. So you did your whole 8 years? What'd you do in prison to have to do your whole 8 years? For doing what? Not following the rules while you're in prison. I'm going to find that you previously entered your plea of guilty freely and voluntarily. Find sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and at this time find you guilty of unlawful possession of a firearm by felon. sentence you to a term of 6 years in the Institutional Division of the Texas Department of Corrections. You will receive credit on that sentence for any time that you've been in custody that the law gives you the right to receive. I'm handing you the trial court certification that shows this was an agreement that I followed, and so you've waived your right to appeal, and you're lucky that this was the agreement. Mr. Smith was generous. The fact is, you could have been enhanced to a second-degree felony because of your history, and you're lucky you weren't. I have also handed you a written admonishment regarding your ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition. Obviously you know this, but I'm required to read this to you. Because of the judgment entered against you, you're ineligible under Texas law to possess a firearm or ammunition.
This is the legal gut punch. 6 years wasn't just a sentence, it was a gift. With his history, this could have been enhanced to a second-degree felony. Translation: more time, fewer options, worse outcomes. The judge is making it crystal clear, this could have gone much worse.